Joining me in the room tonight is Jonathan Piersma, making his pro debut this Thursday night for CFFC 89 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Jonathan, first time having you on the show. Welcome, brother. Welcome. Big pro debut on tap, man. How you feeling?
I feel good about it. I got this fight on short notice. I got called about the matchup. Just took a look at him. He's a tough kid. He does some things pretty well. But we felt confident about it. We had a kind of a game plan, and, if I stick to my plan and do what I do, we feel good about it.
Excellent. Well, he's got a couple of decisions, a few finishes in there. Same as you. You're 6-1-1. Dude, you've only been fighting MMA for a couple of years now. You fought 4 times in 2018, 4 times in 2019. 2019, I do believe you won a championship for the promotion that you started your career with. Then you defended that title, and then you fought the #1 ranked champion in New York and on the East Coast to a draw. Man, yeah. Busy career in your last 2 years, man. Assess, your career from start to finish and where you are now.
So I kind of started training martial arts kind of later, I guess, in life. I mean, I'm not that old, but I played college football. So I was in college football. I think my junior year, a couple of my buddies were like, yeah, let's go check this gym out. Well, yeah, cool. I went down, we trained that one day. And then from there, I fell in love with it. So I had my senior year left to play. So I played through that season. But then I trained through the season. And I said, as soon as football's done, I was going to get straight to fighting, bang out a couple of years of amateurs. And I always knew from that first day that I wanted, go pro and try to make a career out of it. So I tried to stay busy and really get after it.
Excellent. Well, that gym you walked into, is that the same gym you stayed with through your career?
Yeah, same gym. That's where I started.
Excellent. So talk about that. And how does someone, because it happens a lot. Fighters go in there, just say, I want to learn MMA or learn how to fight or defend myself. And all of a sudden they become fighters and making their pro debuts not too far after. Man, yeah. How did that come about? And how did you get to how did you get inspired to say, hey, I can do this for a living?
Just from when I very first started training, I just loved it. And the biggest thing was for me is once I was done playing college football, I had to find something to compete in, to, be competitive, I can't be one of those guys that just goes to the gym and works out and, that type of thing. So I needed something. And the first day I stepped into the gym, I knew that was it. I was going to fight pro. So from that day on, I just, every day I was in the gym, training, getting ready. And yeah, that was so since this is the gym I train at, that's the gym I stepped in the first day. I just fell in love with the gym, the guys. So yeah, I've been there since.
Excellent. How long you been training with them from walking in the gym until now?
Let's see, probably little over 3.5 years, not quite 4 years yet.
Excellent, my man. So 3.5, almost 4 years. You're making your pro debut. Fought for a couple of titles, defended the title, and now you're making your pro debut. But for one of the biggest regional promotions on the East Coast. I mean, they travel around the country, but mostly prominent on the East Coast. You were supposed to make your pro debut before this, but then COVID came. I mean, I know you had that last fight with the #1 ranked guy there, took him to a draw. Were you, you take the #1 guy on the East Coast to a draw. Was that something that you were hoping to run back, or was it after that fight you go, hey, I'm ready for the pro ranks?
Well, going into that fight, I kind of had in my mind that was going to be my last amateur fight. It ended up being a draw, obviously, so I was willing to do one more amateur to fight him again, to kind of settle that score. But we tried a couple times, and it just never kind of worked out. So after about 6 months, we kind of said, all right, let's just move on and go pro.
Now, losing that fight, that original pro debut, how was that? I mean, you stayed busy. I mean, you had 8 fights in 2 years, maybe less than 2 years. All of a sudden, you're ready to make your pro debut, and boom, everything's shut down. How'd you keep it all together to, keep that fire going to come out of COVID and actually make your pro debut before the year's end?
Yeah, it was tough. It sucked. Being a week out, especially, I was excited. Had all these people coming. Pro debut, this and that. Then a week out, it gets canceled, and then everything with COVID, everything shut down. So that was tough. I'd say the toughest part is just the fact that I haven't fought in a year. Like you said, the first 2 years I was fighting every 3 months or so, and now it's been a year, which is by far the longest since I started fighting. But I mean, in a way, I think there's positives to it. It gave me another 8 months to train and get better from when I was supposed to make my pro debut to now. So there was positives to it, but it definitely sucked.
Yeah, talking to a lot of fighters, and you spoke about getting more training in there and learning or developing even more skills. As far as who you've been training with, have you been during the lockdown, you kind of kept with the same group? Like, who's helping you get ready for this pro debut?
So during the lockdown, we would, the gym wasn't open, but, I was still meeting up with my coaches and, maybe a few guys, just get some training in. I was just getting my lifting in with a buddy at his house, running, staying on top of that. My striking coach, we would meet up, boxing coach, we'd meet up. So we never had the gyms officially open, but I stayed pretty busy and I didn't let myself get out of shape, and I was still working pretty hard 5 or 6 days a week throughout the shutdown until the gyms really kind of opened back up during the summer.
Excellent. Well, you're one of the lucky ones. Now, I mean, not only are you making your pro debut in such a hard time for fighters getting fights, you actually get to have a few fans in the stands. I mean, most fighters I've been speaking with, even UFC fighters, they have no crowd there, so it's a whole new atmosphere to them. I know you for, I would imagine most of your career in New York, and you've had a lot of fans in the stands, so it's not going to affect you as much. But what's your thought about that, going into, in there and not having the same amount of fire that you used to when you get into that cage?
Yeah, it'll be different, I guess. I don't see it impacting me too much. I think once you're in the cage and you're ready to fight, you're kind of you kind of tune that stuff out anyways. But it'll be a little different. Even, the amateur shows I fought on still, would have a couple thousand people at the venue. So it was kind of packed and, you got that whole crowd effect. But, yeah, I don't see it being much of an issue or, really changing how I feel for the fight. But yeah, it'll be different and interesting and something to get used to because this might go for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Another really great thing about this is that you're on Fight Pass. Fight Pass, is in partnership with CFFC, and even with the limited fans in there, you'll have people at home that can watch you. I mean, they're going to be watching you make your pro debut. And you talked about being off for over a year. Tyler Bunting, he's coming in here also. He hasn't fought since the same time I think you. September.
Yeah, I think a little longer than me too.
Yeah. So you guys are both coming in here looking to get busy and put on a show for your pro debut. What do you see? How do you see this fight going? I'm sure you study. I mean, it's short notice, but he's got a ton of footage out there fighting, a 6-0 fighter there and fighting for, the Cowboy Fight Series, I do believe, which is kind of a popular regional promotion. What are you thinking about this fight and how you see it going?
I think it's going to be a good fight. He's definitely tough. I think both of us, as far as, such a long layoff, we're so early in our career, it's going to be tough to base a lot off our amateur fights because I'm sure he's a lot different in the year and a half he's been off. And I know that I'm a lot different fighter than he's going to see in the fights he had for me. So it's going to be tough to base it off that, but he's going to be tough. I expect it to be a good fight.
Excellent. Well, you're not taking on any, newcomer here. He's been at it a while, very successful. So you're not taking an easy fight for your pro debut. And we're hoping to see a great show here through, two young studs here. As far as who's making the trip with you, how far is the venue from where you live?
About from Rochester, where I am, it's about 5.5 hours.
Oh, so it's a haul for both of you guys. He's coming from Virginia. You're coming from Rochester.
Yeah,
So
it's a ways.
yeah. So who's taking the trek with you here? Who they allow in the corner with you?
So my two corners are going to be my head coach since this is Casey Lamb. He's been my head coach since day one, since I stepped in the gym. And also my teammate is coming down with me. I train with. He actually fights Saturday night right after me for Maverick. He's making his amateur debut.
Excellent. You going to be in his corner?
Yeah, so I'm gonna fight Thursday night. We're gonna wake up Friday. We're gonna go to his weigh-ins. It's only about an hour and 45 minutes north. He's gonna weigh in, then yeah, he fights Saturday. So.
Well, awesome, my man. Coming out of COVID, two experiences here, making your pro debut for CFFC and on the Fight Pass, and getting to fight in front of crowds that not many people do. And then you got a buddy fighting, a couple of days later, man. Good for you, man. What a week. What a weekend, man. So last thing, brother. I don't know if you got sponsors, but I know you got social media. I know we got a few days before this happened. So shout anything you want out there before I let you go.
Just shout out to everyone who supports me, friends, family, everyone who's come to the fight, everyone who's came to fights in the past, my gym teammates, everyone who's helped me along this journey. Just thank you. And Thursday night will be the first step, in my pro career, and hopefully a very long, successful pro career.
Excellent.
That, everyone that's been there since day one can, be on the journey with me.
Excellent. Well, you're a young dude, man. You're 24, 25 years old?
24.
24, 2 years in, man, making your pro debut and, friggin' 8 fights in 2 years and capturing a title and defending it, man. That's a very successful amateur career, and there's nothing left for you there, man. So, go kill it. Kill it in the pro ranks, man, and we can't wait to see you Thursday night, man, on Fight Pass, making that pro debut.
Can't wait either.
Yeah, so there you go. Jonathan Piersma making his pro welterweight debut for CFFC 89 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Jonathan, man, go get it, man. We'll be watching our Fight Pass Thursday night, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.